So this is the third of our regular updates council. Last two have been in the formal meetings, so this is the first time in the workshop session. But we're going to be reporting on today the last quarter for 24-25 and the end of year results. So I'll start off with some of the governance reporting, and then Sean will cover and legitimate requests. So just some highlights for the year. Most of the levels of service were met by the organisation. The only one that wasn't was a particular measure around the number of meetings supported. So that's something that's out of our control. So the threshold was set at between 500 to 650 meetings, and in the year there were 430. So we missed by 70. In terms of those meetings, all the meetings were supported by governance effectively. One thing to flag in there in terms of a good result was the performance of the organisation in closing off actions, including resolutions. So we had a 30% drop in terms of those items being closed off late. So we've really focused in the last year on getting those done on time. The results show there. So for the next few slides, we'll just run through some of the key metrics that we're looking at. So firstly, in regards to meetings, already touched on the volume of meetings. In terms of live streaming, so from this year, we've been focusing on the live streaming and making reportings available as part of being more transparent. So we've exceeded the threshold. At the end of the year, 97% of eligible meetings were live streamed to the public or available by recording afterwards. The next slide shows some metrics around reporting. So the number of memos and reports generated by staff for electing meetings. We've included going back to give you some context back to 2018 and 19, so you can see some trends over time. Key thing to note from this is that in the last few years, the level of decision reports that are coming to you have basically leveled off and remained consistent. We've seen some fluctuations with the volume of memos and information reports. Some of the variations from that do relate to things like in the last term, we had a larger committee structure and there was more reports that went to those. At different times, there's been more focus on providing information to you via memos as opposed to coming to formal meetings. And we've had different volumes of information sessions such as workshops such as this one. For public excluded reports, so again, the organisation is focusing on our ability to be more open and transparent in terms of the volumes of PX remaining low compared to historical measures. We've peaked it as an organisation in the mid-30s in terms of the percentage of reports that were PX. For the last year, we came down to around 6%, which is pleasing. And in terms of reviewing reports for release, in the last year, we, sorry, it's the wrong metric on there. Sorry, that's the wrong slide. What that should say is that for the end of year, we reviewed for release 89% of reports for the current triennium. Now, in terms of meetings, we have a couple of measures around making sure that our meetings meet all statutory requirements and that the website is updated with the latest versions of all relevant governance documents. And so we met 100% of those requirements in the last quarter and the last year. This slide looks at action volumes. So this is the your decisions turning into actions to be implemented by staff. What we see over time here is that the volume of late report actions is reduced. The number of the volume of actions overall has gone down, and the number of closed actions has gone down as well as we've gone through and tried to work through the backlog that the council had. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you. Just in brief, we've provided some stats around Q4 and end of year results because we've come to the end of the last financial year. So just to sort of talk you through the performance targets that are in our levels of service, one of which is to respond to all ombudsman inquiries and investigations in a timely manner. We've done that in the last year, which is great. We tend to work quite closely with investigators from the office to try and seek positive outcomes to complaints. As for the number of legoimas, as I've sort of suggested in the past, these just keep increasing quarter and year out. So Q4 we had 425 requests at an average of 10.6 average completion days. Overall, we've been responding to 99.7% of all requests we receive under the legoima within the statutory timeframe. Last year, we completed 1,691 requests at an average of 9.3 days, and that's formal legoima requests. So just to give you a bit of flavour around that, so 1,691 sees a 36% increase from the previous year of 1,243, but we saw an average completion day reduction of about 25%, down from 12.4 days to 9.3. And just to sort of give you an idea of where that sits, transport and waste do most of the heavy lifting. They're now answering around 30% of legoima requests. Regulatory compliance is 14, and official information answer about 10% of all requests received. As for elected member queries, so these are the vast majority councillor queries. We saw a 45% increase from the previous year up to 1,465, but a 53% decrease in average completion days. We've been working particularly assiduously to try and reduce those numbers, despite in the face of increased numbers of queries. And again, transport and waste, by far and away the most popular area of councillor interest. Three Waters are next, and then planning and consent. And finally, just to sort of give you a flavour, I don't know if you can see that Q4 for the entire year.
11 times more than me.
Yeah.
You must have had 11 times.
Yeah. How many of those are repeat? Do you know? Serious.
I don't have that measurement.
3 serious. Just a little project myself. Hang on, Barbara, you're ahead of me. Did you lose your time? Hallie, 22.
Yeah, no, I couldn't talk to people.
Top
So I
three.
had an email instead.
And that is just one more thing to add too. Just on top of this, you'll note too that we're in the election pre-election protocol period as well. So we are logging candidate queries separately, treating them under the legoima, and then with the idea, as you know, to publish them online so all candidates have access to responses.
So, right, questions. We've got Sarah, Aaron, and Tyler.
Yeah, thanks. So flip back to the number of percentage of overall reports in public excluded. You mentioned that this year was, that we were 6%, historic highs of 30. I just wanted to point out that by the end of last term we were at 5%, so we're kind of steady. Yeah, this term we've been steady. We haven't reduced this term.
No.
Holding steady where we managed to get down to last term.
And of course, we'll always have a certain number of reports that we'll have to see in.
Yeah, thanks.
Aaron, where are you?
Just here. Oh, it's hard to see the screen side of my eyes don't go around the corner. On the legoima, this one, on the legoima is short.
Yes.
Because the number keeps going up year on year, and from conversations with you, and you didn't give any names, but we seem to have a handful of people that ask for a lot. That would be correct. Not many, because they can ask for as many as
That's fair comment. I mean, the majority of requests we get are standalone sort of personal requests. They might be for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's the people that are asking, say, more than 3 or even 5 in a year are of a concern. What's our level? We'll have to go through a process to start charging the information.
We have a charging policy, which is agreed to by council, and we'd assess it. I mean, normally we try and help people as much as we can, but if it does start becoming excessive and taking up a lot of staff time, that's when we might suggest We always try and refine and work with the person to try and get them what they want.
What's the cost of the rate?
Well, it does effectively.
And so that's my issue with it. And if I go to any other department, or certainly if I ring my lawyer and accountant, they hit the clock.
Yes.
And so, we should be no different, because by far the majority of ratepayers never ask or ask once. Or
Yes.
now and then.
That is very true. We try not to charge. I mean, it does sort of run counter to, you know, the idea of principle of availability and transparency. There will be a certain certain amount of people where we would consider that, though, if it becomes onerous.
The dentist was free. I'd go there and get my teeth cleaned every day. Just
Well, I guess it's that sort of public service ethos of trying to help people, you know, our citizens, and quite often that is they're not sure of something or they need information. We try and help them out wherever we
It
can.
would be an incredibly radical change if we want to do that. But, Tyler,
I was going to ask something really important. About sheets. No.
how can you get more sleep?
Yeah, sorry. Can you come back to me?
Yes, you can come in your house. Oh, Mark, and then Yanni.
Thank you. The liquor licensing.
Mhm.
I've heard recently that the requests from like objectors might be handled as recorders. Is that true?
So I mean, technically, every request for information any of us receive is under the Legoima. We'll formalise requests when they need probably an extra level of scrutiny, and definitely if we need to make a decision under the Legoima, which could mean any form of redaction, like any form of withholding information.
Yep.
So those should be delegated decisions treated under the Legoima.
Yep.
Yes.
I guess one of the reasons for asking that question is timeliness of
Yes. And we'll always try to get answers out as quickly as possible. And I mean, our reduction of timeframes is testament to that. It's not always possible for various reasons, and one of those is staff availability. We try wherever we can, but you know, sometimes it's never quite possible.
The Tyler's remembered. We'll go back to Tyler.
Yeah, it was about the elected member request. I just wanted to ask, for CSRs, other industries, does that mean that it's coming to a close?
So CSRs, these numbers here are not reflected in CSRs.
Yeah, for example, if a resident had a CSR, a written address, in however way they'd liked,
Yes.
they came to us and we passed it on to OCE.
Yes. So a number of these will be those cases.
Okay.
But most of the CSRs, like bog standard ones,
Yep.
will sort of say, put them through the CSR process because it's a lot quicker and a lot more streamlined to do it that way.
Yep.
But sometimes things aren't
Yep.
that easy, and but that's probably when we'll take those, escalate them through the teams and try and get expedite responses.
Okay, so the general questions that we have, for example, say there's a PC14 question that we've got,
Mhm.
that would be available to the other candidates, but that's fine.
Yes,
The question I've got is around residents
yes.
asking questions and then me passing that on.
No, so as part of the protocols, we there's a line in there that says requests from citizens
Okay,
aren't treated as candidate questions because you're helping them in
Yep.
your capacity as their elected member.
cool, that's clear, thanks.
Yanni, then
Is there anything that we can track around LCP action? Like, for example, today we had the Limwood region was supposed to come back in July.
Mhm.
Can we get a sense of what we've asked for, what's happening?
It's going to bring it back.
Okay, yeah, it's a little outside of our sort of area, but certainly,
Right.
yeah. Peter Ryan.
I guess it's just knowing that when we've made decisions,
It's all on the track.
That is-
It's going to be tracked and reported back, so through Peter Ryan's team.
yeah, okay.
and Kelly.
Yeah, just around the stats on member requests. If everybody, obviously, all elected members have a right to ask as many questions as they wish.
Mhm.
If everybody was doing sort of like a high level, over 100 requests each, would we require more staff to deal with that? Is there any, what I'm trying to work out is the quantum of time. that staff are spending on these, because, you know, when I look at one graph for the year, I've done 22, and at the other extreme is Yanni, 242. Obviously, he has a right to do that, but is there any sort of quantum of the amount of time that staff would spend dealing with the higher volume and the lower volume?
It's like our team sort of administer the requests. We receive them, log them, send them to staff, work with staff to get answers, sort of review those and then provide them. I suppose with high numbers of requests, not only elected member requests, but Legoima, is we're putting those into the organisation. So unit staff, yes, so unit staff will be dealing primarily with those. And they're the ones putting the big hours in on requests. So, I mean, it's a balance. So day job or answering questions, yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously, everybody has the right to do that. I don't see much balance between the top and the bottom. I mean, is it feasible to perhaps have a number of requests that are allowed in a certain period of time, you know, to limit the use of staff resources?
We haven't investigated that approach.
Yeah, I can see lots of problems with it, but I'm just trying to look to save staff time.
Not really. You can trade off with others who quite swap areas for questions.
Sorry.
So it's interesting things that it seems to be all the elected members from there have trended up this year, and I'm wondering, you know, why that is really.
I think, yeah. 100 right on.
Or is it something else?
I think one of the other changes we've made too in recent months is questions logged in these sessions, workshops, council and F&P are now recorded in this. So we have seen a jump in requests, but it's a better way of logging them.
Because of the others can do that.
Yes.
So you just asked 15 then, Yanni. Okay, any more questions? It's really helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brings us to the end of our workshop day, so I think we're free to go. And we'll see you over at Pendelt and